he smelled some marijuana, and then from there he found it. It was marijuana less than an ounce, because it was just like $20 worth, because from practice smoking, right?
Yeah.
Now, at the time when it happened, of course it feel like the world tumbling down, because this is a license, this is a livelihood, this is what you know for a long period of time. And when the whole deal ended and he was like, you're gonna get charged for the DUI, we're gonna take you down, spend a night in jail, and then we'll figure it out from there. That's when everything shifted, because now the comfort zone was taken away. The comfort of me driving truck, the only skill set I know inside of Georgia was now taken away with a DUI.
Right.
So that's where everything shifted.
That's crazy. Boom, welcome to the Bold Effect podcast, guys. I'm your host, Mamadou Diallo. Today I have a very special guest. This is someone that came straight from Jamaica to the US, 10 years in trucking, and he jumped in head on into real estate investing and made six figures, or a little bit over six figures, his first year with his Jamaican thick accent. Mr. Andrew Powell himself, among other things, guys, doing new constructions right now. So welcome to your own podcast, Mr. Andrew.
Hey man, it's a pleasure just being here, and Mamadou just even having me as a guest for the first episode to me is a pleasure. So let's kick it off, and just let's get excited on this long journey and this beautiful journey that we have going.
Yes, guys. So today is about Andrew, guys. If you guys don't know, he's my business partner, my brother, also my co-host on this podcast. But today I decided to highlight his story because I feel like it's very inspiring for him to go from Jamaica over 10 years ago, come here in the U.S., do trucking, and then get out of trucking and crush it, absolutely crush it in real estate. He's been doing real estate for about, what, a year or two?
Yeah, 2 years to be exact.
2 years. It feels like he's been doing it 5 years, guys. You guys gonna honestly appreciate. I know the immigrant mentality. I'm from West Africa, Guinea. You're from Jamaica, so the islands and Africa, we kind of have that similarity, which is we move a lot, right?
Yeah.
We go to Europe, we come to the US, we're chasing the dreams. But also one thing that I found, there is two sides to the immigrant mentality. There's the great side, because the US, most really, really successful people are typically immigrants.
Of course.
But also there is the other side of things where sometimes as immigrants we get complacent. We have 7 different jobs. All we do is send the money back home. We don't really capitalize on opportunities that may exist here because we feel like we have to work 7 jobs and just slave our life away. And I feel like your story is really inspiring, and it's going to inspire a lot of people born and raised here, but also people that maybe have been here for a while and be like, man, if he's been able to do this within this amount of time, I might be able to do so. So today, guys, not about me. It's going to be about Andrew. I'm actually going to let him introduce himself first, and then we're going to get into his story.
So as you know, Mamadou, my name is Andrew Powell from the beautiful country Jamaica, as you know, with the accent. Been here since 2012. Was a very interesting journey, so to speak. But ever since I got here, I landed in New Jersey first. That is where I spent at least the first 7 years of being inside America for the past 12 years. And from there, that's when the trucking journey started. It started in New Jersey, came here, still continued trucking, but realized real quick that trucking wasn't the passion. The passion for it just went out. It was just, to me, a way through the door, and just got here, did that for 10 years. The first 7 years in Jersey, 3 years in Georgia, and then from there, it's just real estate.
So how many years you been in the U.S.?
12 years.
12 years, and 10 of it is trucking.
Absolutely.
Did you own the business, or were you a driver?
Was a driver. I drove for 2 different companies, but one of the companies that I drove for was car hauling. So the money was a little bit, as we would say back home in Jamaica, is a little bit enough. But it really wasn't in hindsight once you start to figure your way around and stuff like that.
Take me back a decade ago, right? So when you came to the U.S., what was the hardest part for you, like starting over in the new country? Because obviously you come from Jamaica, now you're in the U.S., complete different environment. What was it like for you to adjust?
The most difficult part for me was being homesick, the culture shift.
Okay.
That was something that was completely new. I remember this one incident, being inside the home at about 7 o'clock. And I looked at the time and like, hey, if I was back home in Jamaica, 7 o'clock would have been the time that I'm getting ready to go outside and interact with friends. And this was me getting ready to go sleep. About 2 weeks in Mamadou. I looked at the time and it was 7 o'clock.
Right.
and I was already tucked in bed, looking to go sleep. Back home, it was a complete different thing. So the culture shock to me and adjusting to a different type of lifestyle was one of the most challenging things. Of course, you know, the food as well just tastes completely different and stuff like that. But man, the culture shock was just everything.
So it would have been at 7 p.m. you would be getting ready to go out and party, or just go out and hang out with friends?
Just going out. Just you finish doing what you're doing. You're from work. You just eat your dinner. You're ready to go outside, whether it's domino. As you know, we're islanders, so we do a lot of game nights and stuff like that. But yeah, that was a big culture shock for me, to be honest with you.
What did you used to do for work in Jamaica?
Back home in Jamaica, very interesting question. I was an accountant from a leave high school, St. Catherine High School, by the way. St. Catherine student, big up yourself. Leave St. Catherine High School, it was straight into accounts. I worked with the government for 8 years.
Wow.
At the Accountant General Department.
Wow.
Did the ACCA certification, that's Association of Certified Chartered Accountant.
Okay.
And that's what the career path back home in Jamaica while working with the government.
So did you feel like, so you come in here, you went from an accountant to a truck driver. Did you feel like you leveled up or went down as far as like, you know, career status?
It was absolutely a step down.
Step down.
It was a step down for me. My mother was also disappointed in me doing that because I brought the certification over here, so I did make an effort to continue the study of being an accountant over here, which of course, you know, it is the CPA. But all those years of me studying back home in Jamaica, I would have had to do every single thing back over. There was no credit that could have been transferred from that certification coming back over in America, and that was very.
You would have to go back to school,
absolutely,
restart everything, and you're like, hell no.
No, we're not doing that.
I'm too old for the school. All right. So with that being said, right? So obviously, many immigrants, when we get here, I mean, people from my country included, we always take the safe route oftentimes. What I mean by that is we come here, we start working one job, then we take a second one, sometimes we take a third one. You have people with 7 different jobs. Not only they have 7 different jobs, but they're barely surviving and they're physically here and they're mentally home. I don't know if it's like that in Jamaica, but here, at least where I'm from, all they do is work, take the money, send it back home, and give it to people that live there that have, I would say, a better quality life than they do, and take it and go party with it while they're here thinking they're helping somebody out there. Like, what is that like when it comes to Jamaicans? Is it the same one aspect of it, like 7 different jobs, 3 different jobs?
It is absolutely the same way, because very interesting to ask a question like that. My first 3 years in America, it was only me being here physically. Mentally, I was back home.
Got it.
Meaning, whatever I'm in the store seeing that's on sale, hey, that would have looked good on the wall back home in Jamaica. Hey, that TV would have. So it was me. I've only been home 3 times since being here. 2 times was the very first 2 years that I've been here. So I was feeling to go back. That is why it was so difficult to adjust.
Where exactly are you from in Jamaica?
Portmore, St. Catherine.
So you've been 3 times to Portmore?
Yeah.
Specifically? Okay, got it.
But ever since my mom came here, that's when I decided not to go back too much, because there was nothing. The time that I even took to go back, it was the same thing. You leave, and 5 years after you go back, it's the same people doing the same stuff. Nothing changes. And then that's when I'm like, hey, listen, if I want to move forward with my life, I got to be out of here completely change of friends. I know this might sound a little bit strange to the Jamaicans, because you know how it is. People just not understanding because they are trapped inside of Jamaica.
Yeah.
Whereby if you even leave and go somewhere else, then of course, yes, quote unquote, sell out or some stuff like that. So
there's a mindset shift.
Exactly.
Got it.
The last
and we're gonna get to the mindset stuff.
Yeah.
So with that being said, right? So can you share a moment? You said 10 years. 10 years is a long time to drive a truck.
It is.
And I've done Uber for 1 year when I first started real estate, my first year. So I can only imagine if I was in a trucking for 10 years, right? What was that moment that you were like, there's no way that this is it?
Yeah.
Like, what was that moment? What happened to where you left trucking and then became successful in real estate? What, made that transition like, I gotta go?
Okay. So let's go back to Jersey a little bit. Back in Jersey, it was easy. because you have time. So it feel like Jamaica a little bit. Because once you wrap your mind and once you wrap your life around doing the trucking, then you have most of your time to do what all type of nonsense. Right. So when I came to Georgia was when there was no more nonsense to be done. I cannot operate like I was in New Jersey, right? Because I couldn't go home every night driving trucks. When I came to Georgia, I had was to now go over the road and spend more time on the road. And that's when everything shifts. Because back in Georgia, I could have been home every night, still drive trucks, still have time to do whatever you want to do. In Georgia, it was a complete shift. So for me, I remember this one particular time driving trucks, and it was a night shift. It was a 12-hour shift. I was a switcher at the time, but it was at nighttime, 12 hours from 6 in the evening till 6 in the morning. And I was like, I broke down in tears. I'm like, there's no way life can be this. Felt like a prisoner. There was no time to do anything because even working 12 hours in the night, when you go home in the day, it's just time to sleep.
100%.
So I remember that one night, man, I was coming home 12 o'clock because we used to take break 12 o'clock in the night to get lunch. And I just broke down and cried and like, there got to be a different way out. I cannot continue my life like this. It feel like I'm just going around in circles, barely surviving. And that's when I took the leap and decided, hey, let's try something different.
Got it. And I know right now, the audience don't know you, but I know you've had a complete mindset shift because of books, and we're going to get into it at the end. But what made it that I know there is one incident that you told me about that at first it seemed like it was a curse in your trucking career. But at the end of the day, you found out it was a blessing because that forced you out of, because you would have still continued even though you cried that night.
100%.
Because you felt like, maybe there's nothing better. I'm already like, at this point, one thing we've skipped, you've been able to move from New Jersey. One thing maybe the audience don't know is you were able to buy your primary residence in Atlanta and then move, which is a huge accomplishment that somebody just arrived. That takes a lot of focus. So I'm assuming at some point, like there was no parties, there was no hanging out. You just been locked in focus with a set of goal, maybe which is buying a home. Then you came to here, Atlanta. Then you started realizing, okay, I'm away from my family all the time, driving way longer hours now, always outside of Georgia. Just tell them that story that you told me that you thought it was a curse, but today you're like, oh my God, without that, I wouldn't be in real estate and be this successful in real estate because I would still be driving a truck.
To be honest with you, it was that night of the 23rd of December, 2022, 11:46. I could remember it like it was yesterday.
The time?
Bro, that was
remember the time, guys.
That was the day that everything shifted.
Right.
You know what I mean? I got myself a DUI, had some substance inside the truck, got pulled over that night. That night was also one of the coldest nights inside the Georgia history. That's how much I remember that night vividly. Got pulled over. Police came, said he wanted to see the credentials for the truck. He smelled some marijuana, and then from there he found it. It was marijuana less than an ounce because it was just like $20 worth because from practice smoking, right?
Got it.
Now, at the time when it happened, of course, it feel like the world tumbling down because this is a license, this is a livelihood, this is what you know for a long period of time. And when the whole ordeal ended and he was like, you're going to get charged for the DUI, we're going to take you down to spend a night in jail and then we'll figure it out from there. That's when everything shifted because now the comfort zone was taken away. The comfort of me driving truck, the only skill set I know inside of Georgia was now taken away with a DUI. So that's where everything, everything Mamadou, everything shifted.
That's crazy. So when everything shifted, how did you go from that experience to jumping into real estate? Like what happened? How did you even hear about, which is the strategy you started with is the real estate wholesaling, which is basically, and I'm going to let you explain, what is even real estate wholesaling?
Real estate, in a nutshell, just finding an ugly home and putting that ugly home under contract by just having a conversation with the homeowner and then finding a end buyer and then assigning that contract to the end buyer to go ahead and flip it or whatever he wants to do. But that is the basic concept of wholesaling.
So you find a homeowner.
I find a home.
You put them under contract.
Put them under contract.
So you're not the one buying the home.
I'm not the one purchasing the home.
So you don't need money.
I don't need money.
You didn't go to the bank.
I didn't go to the bank.
Did you have to have a license to do that?
No license. No money. No license. No college degree. No nothing.
Got it. And you put them on the contract. So the only thing you're selling is the piece of contract.
The only thing I'm selling is that contract.
To somebody else.
To somebody else who is going to become the end buyer.
Okay, what do you call that person?
That person is the cash buyer.
Cash. Okay. Are they like multimillionaires? Like, what do they do?
This
Like,
person is the regular person just like me and you. We have flip property also. This person have access to possibly getting a hard money loan or possibly having some capital that he might have raised. So this person is a regular person.
Got it. So this is a person just renovate homes to feed his family, basically. He probably don't have the time to do what you do, which is finding the homeowners, talking to them, negotiating.
Skill set.
Got you. Okay. So how did you even discover that? Like, how did you hear of wholesaling when you're doing trucking?
So 3 months prior to the incident happening, I was already making a transition, right? So the incident took place inside December. By August, I was already making the transition. It's just that there was no time, because remember I told you this was a 12-hour job that I was doing. So there was no time to actually put some focus and some time inside of it. But it was me understanding the concept, going through the learning process, understanding what wholesaling is. But when that incident took place in December, that's when it gave me a chance to go deep down inside this thing.
So you discovered it 3 months before your incident.
Yeah.
Where you lost your license.
Absolutely.
You started doing your research.
Yep.
And you started taking action, making the calls.
Yep.
While you're doing the trucking.
While I'm doing the trucking.
Okay. So basically, the incident is what forced you to jump in full time now. Because at this point, maybe you're doing it how many hours while you're doing the trucking? How many hours were you?
I could barely even do 2-3 hours. Because now when I'm home during the daytime, I have to get some sleep for work the entire night shift. So that was where the frustration started to build up.
So basically, you were saying you could only dedicate 2 hours. So is the incident that forced you to go in full time?
100%.
That's crazy. Okay, so that's the reason why you consider the incident as a blessing and not. How did you even discover wholesaling the first time? Like the first time you heard it?
The first time I heard it was a book. This book, everybody familiar with this book, but the first concept that I read wholesale into was the Millionaire Investor. There was a chapter inside that book where a guy was telling a story where he wholesale a deal and made, I think, $100,000 off the deal. That book is a very good book also. It was the Millionaire Investor.
Did you used to read in Jamaica?
No, never.
What led you to reading? How did you start reading books?
It was just me wanting a difference in something. Now, the phone for me, and of course for everybody else, is a big distraction.
Right.
And I remember picking up books was when I decided to put the phone down for 1 month. So I wanted to change the habits and pick up different habits and see what the result of those habits would have produced. So I decided those nights that I was doing trucking, those 12-hour shift, to leave the phone at home. So I wouldn't even be tempted to go on the phone and do any type of activity. And that's when I started traveling with books inside the book bag and just picking up reading. And from there, the first book that I read to completion was The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stevie Covey. And from there, it's just books ever since.
That's crazy. So guys, basically, this might fly over your head, but that means none of it is accidental.
Absolutely.
You were able to create it, maybe without even you yourself knowing, but deep inside, I'm sure as you drive in the truck, you know, sometimes like you're just driving, you're not even looking at your phone for hours. I'm sure in your head, you're thinking like, this cannot be it.
This cannot be it.
Oftentimes, and then that led you to probably thinking, I should get rid of this damn phone. Every time I'm on the break, I'm busy with the phone and replace it with, that's crazy. That is crazy, guys, because books, I don't care, like it, don't like it. It's not about what you like, but the mindset is everything. As you guys are going to learn, this is all mindset. For you to even consider such an incident that take away your license, which is basically the tool you're using to feed your family.
Yep.
How many days did it take you for you to look at it as, oh, I didn't, you know, I was taking the time, I'm doing this part-time, and now God is, or the universe, call it whatever you want, forcing me full-time into this real estate journey. You already started 3 months prior. Like, were you sitting in your room? Like, what happened?
This was the very same night that I got incarcerated, because I spent one night. The very same night, that's when the concept was proven to me, because me reading and understanding the concept, the very book that brought that concept to my attention was the book called Think and Grow Rich, whereby your mind creates things, and that's how things really manifest inside of the physical world through your mental. That book kind of brought that concept to me, and when that incident took place, it was confirmation, because me being at the job, I used to curse the job. I used to, bro. So when the incident happened, like, oh man, Mamadou. It was the mindset that caused, because the police pulled me over randomly.
Yeah. And we know it's not random.
I would know it's not random.
Because there's nothing random. So how did you, because a lot of people, the excuses that they have
Yeah.
is I don't have time, I'm too busy, I have a family, I have a job. I would truly, I mean, me and you, we've been doing real estate for a minute now.
Yeah.
And one thing we've discovered is that everybody, oftentimes, in a way, shape, or form, they would love to be in real estate, but they typically always have an excuse.
Yeah.
That's actually how we get private money, but we'll get to that later. And so, like, for you, you've been able, 3 months prior, you were juggling trucking. You still had the time to make the calls. You still had the time to do the research. So how did you get rid of your excuses and balance it out and just started saying, you know what, because I'm cussing and cursing my job every day, let me start something on the side instead of maybe finishing the trucking, then saying I'm tired, then maybe watching Netflix, and then chilling even on your days off. I'm sure you were on the phone trying to get some deals. How did you balance it out and throw the excuses out of the window? Like, how was that process like?
So for me, listening to Jim Rohn, a lot of his philosophy got stuck inside the head, and the excuses won't change the circumstances. Having a bunch of excuses will not change the circumstances, and the only way the circumstances can change is if the mindset shift. There's a different way of doing things, there's a different way of thinking, and that's what forced me into just going to a different direction. I just wanted something different, Mamadou. Whenever you want something different, there's an unexplained urge that comes inside of you whereby, no, this cannot be it. Mamadou, if me used to wake up 5 o'clock, me start to wake up 5:01. Me just do every single thing different.
Right.
If me used to eat 1 spoonful of rice, me start to eat half. Because me realize those are the small changes that will accumulate to different results, and me just start to do everything different. Phone, one side, food, one, everything start to just change, and it just start to bend reality in a what is it that me want reality to be. So for me, it was just the philosophy of Jim Rohn just stuck inside of my head. If you want something to change, you have to change something else inside of your everyday life to get different results.
That tells me you probably turn your trucking, instead of listening to music, you turn it into a whole audio with motivational speakers.
University, I would call it.
That's crazy. That's crazy. You probably do Uber, working at a job, and when you have free time, you're listening to music. He decided to listen to motivational speakers. That completely changed his life, right? Now, one of the things both me and you we have in common is that we're immigrants.
Yeah.
And one of the myths that we've been told as an immigrant, if you come to the United States, in order to succeed or to, appear to succeed, you need a fantastic credit. And on top of that, you need a great job, right? What would you tell somebody who's not only still thinking that way right now, but, how did you overcome this myth to even be like, you know what, no, this real estate thing, I can do it without a license. I don't need the bank. I can just call a distressed homeowner and put them on the contract and sell the contract.
So really quick, I found that skill set. You, to me, whenever I met you, to me, more than anything else, kind of put a lot of things into perspective. Because for me, I was just still going through the motion of wanting something different, not understanding that it's really skill set. Not understanding that skill set is what's gonna really kind of give you that financial security and that security inside yourself. You kind of really brought that up more than anything else. Because for me, I just wanted was a change, not understanding that it was skill set that you need to kind of have yourself financially free and feel comfortable inside the skill. Is the more skill set you have, the more you feel more comfortable with yourself.
Right.
But just to pinpoint that out, for me, I was just going through the motion of wanting something different. And real estate provided that avenue, and just going through the motion of closing the first deal to the second deal, it didn't even at that time occur to me that it is skill set that you're really kind of cherishing and nourishing for you to be safe inside the future. Once I got around you and you start to put everything into perspective, then it started down to me like, hey, your skill set is what you're doing, the skill set of acquisition, your skill set of knowing what to do, when to do. And once you have these skill set, then sky is the limit. You was the one who brought that to me attention for me to start to look on things that way.
Yeah. But remember, if you hadn't started the journey by yourself first and took control of your life and habits, because it all starts with you. Once you outsource it to an external source, which is a job, is the credit, is my manager, is maybe a higher payday. These are all external sources, is the political environment. So you started the self-work journey, the self-development to control, and then everything started lining up
100%.
to the path that you're looking to go, right? And this is like, unless it happens on the inside, it's not going to happen on the outside, right?
Yep.
So now you've seen both sides of the fences,
Yeah.
right? So you've seen, obviously, back home, third world country, Jamaica, came here, immigrant, had to adapt, 10 years doing the thing, trucking, whatever, right? And I know you've tried even other businesses on the side while doing trucking, and we're going to get to that later. But with that being said, what would you then tell to somebody? Because now you can talk to a Jamaican, you can talk to an African, and you can definitely talk to somebody who was born and raised here and keep claiming that the system is rigged against them, and that's the reason why they can't get out, they can't succeed. What would you tell that person?
So your mindset, the mindset is everything, and the way how you say America is everything. The way how you say everything, that is what really project on the outside. Now, for me, there's no external source. What I've come to learn is that there's no external source that affect the future. Everything is within me. Now,